Well, let's talk a little more about the situation in Libya with someone who knows the region very well, Nabila Ramdani, who's a Middle East analyst. Thanks for coming in. What does today's incident tell us about, well, we know there's turmoil in Libya, but this goes a step further again. What is your view of it?
Well, yes, absolutely. And what he tells us is it's an absolute indictment of what's going on in Libya at the moment. And it is a reflection of the absolute state of anarchy of the country at the moment following the murder of Colonel Gaddafi and indeed in the wake of the 2011 revolution. But what is absolutely clear is that everybody's priority a few years ago was to depose Colonel Gaddafi, but not much thought was put into what came next. And when indeed French and British warplanes were starting to bomb Libya and indeed took sides in a civil war, helping the rebel forces, the aftermath was not much given any thought effectively. But what's also clear is that the reason why we're discussing this today is because the Prime Minister has been kidnapped. But this is very much, you know, the reflection of what ordinary Libyans have to put up with day in, day out.
Let's talk about his authority. I mean, he's been released, and we saw a clip there in a BBC interview just a few days ago, where he was acknowledging openly that, you know, the state is in a weak condition. What has this incident done for his authority, and is he now in a position to try to shore up support and to try to get a little more order, or does this tell us that he's too weak or maybe not strong enough to be Prime Minister?
Well, I think his authority was always undermined by the fact that in the wake of Colonel Gaddafi's removal, it exposed the weakness of the Libyan state. And there was no reason why overnight a country which had been ruled for 42 years by a dictator would have the infrastructure ready for democracy. And effectively Libya is dominated by rival factions, rival militias, which are heavily armed. And in fact, according to Western intelligence agency, Libya has the largest unsecured stockpile of weapons in the world, with millions of tons of arms in the country. And this is an extremely worrying prospect. And a couple of days ago, the Prime Minister himself had spoken to the BBC and had said that the issue with the arms available to young people, available in homes, in stores, and that he was actually calling for help from Western governments, including Britain, to help remove those weapons from the streets.
So as a final point, let's talk about the form of that help, although it may not be in the form that Libya wants. What are the external influences now that are likely to be most effective? And are there any external influences that can help to transform the situation or not?
Well, I think what the Prime Minister of Libya was made clear is that he was appealing for help from the very countries who helped the rebel forces topple Gaddafi to effectively stop the rise of militancy. It's not just a Libyan problem, it's a regional problem. The Prime Minister of Libya also warned about the flow of weapons circulating in the region and especially in Libya. So he was clearly calling for help to try and deal with terrorist groups dominating Libya at the moment, to try and curb their influence.
Okay, Nabila, once again, good to have you in the studio. Thank you very much indeed. Nabila Ramdani.